Hi everyone, this is Anurag Mukherjee. I have Samantha Paxson joining us for today's podcast. Welcome to a new podcast, a brand new one, Women of Community Banking. This is a brand new podcast that we are airing starting today, and Samantha is the inaugural guest who has agreed to join me. I'll talk about Samantha. There is no introduction needed for her, but still I'll do some introductions about her. Quick introductions about me, who I am, right? I'm Anurag, I'm 30, based out of New York, work for a consulting firm called EXL. My passion has been helping credit unions win using data and analytics. That's pretty much about me. I won't, talk a lot about myself. It doesn't make sense. Let's directly go to Sam. Sam, firstly, thanks a lot for joining me in today's podcast. I appreciate it.
It is such a pleasure and such a wonderful thing that you're doing. There's so many incredible women in our industry, and I'm honored to be the first one to be on this podcast. So thank you, Anurag.
Absolute pleasure. This podcast is always about capturing journeys, talking about experiences, talking about the wonderful work that women leaders do today to make this credit union movement a huge success. Without women, we can't do anything. That's like bottom line, right? Let me do some introduction of Sam. Sam, if you're okay with it, I mean, I can try introducing you. It'll be difficult, but let me still take a stab at it.
That's fine.
So, who Sam is? So, Sam is I would say, a growth and a transformation strategist with over 25 years of experience. Just imagine, with 18 years with Co-op PSCU, right? She's a mother to a 12-year-old son. One new term which I heard, she calls herself as an entrepreneur. You can Google that term later on, or we can talk about that. She's a market leader, architect of Co-op's change management, go-to-market strategy, to experience strategy, right? To propel what Co-op is today, what we know Co-op is. Again, a laundry list, an accomplished leader, a thought leader, the list continues, right? We can keep talking about that. I mean, it's difficult to find Sam not working, right? But when Sam is not working, she sits in a few boards. She's really, really passionate about a movement of Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and she is invested towards that. Apart from being a board member of Children's Miracle Network Hospital, she sits on the board of USC Credit Union, Coviance, and Everyday Life Insurance. Small nugget which all of you might not know, because I mean, you're not that close to Sam. She's very passionate about health and wellness, right? She has been a fitness teacher for the last 17 years. Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe that? I mean, the first time when I heard about that, Sam, I was like, wow. I mean, okay, let me take a pause, right? I spoke a lot about Sam. Sam, why don't you go ahead and talk about you?
Well, it's such a pleasure to be here, and you did a good job summarizing my career. My main passion since I started working is really growing companies and getting them closer to their consumer in order for them to find overall financial growth and new strategies that drive net new white space in the market. I love connecting the market to the business. And so that's really been my passion throughout my career. I really love growing teams and growing leaders and finding amazing talent that really helps organizations thrive. And I love finding unique problems to solve that other people might not see. And I think the credit union space is such a magical space because it's so focused on consumer centricity, member centricity. It is in our mission. We are about people helping people. And I find that is so aligned with my personal values, with having integrity in business, finding the purpose in our business. And really, it's good for business. So that makes it so much fun to do what I do and to really expand the ways that we can support businesses and their growth. And I've had such a blessed time in this industry. It's really been such a pleasure to work, and it's continuing to be a wonderful pleasure to work with such incredible minds and beautiful human beings who are just doing the right thing every day.
Absolutely. I think, that's a testament to co-op's growth strategy, right? I mean, that's one. And second, I think it's very important when, I would say, when your passion marries what you want to do, right? So marrying your work and passion is what you've done throughout, finding unique problems and finding unique ways to solve for them. That sounds like exactly music to my ears. That's even what I do at EXL. Talking about your journey of leadership, right? So you being a proven leader for like almost more than 2 decades now. So how do you define leadership? I mean, what do you think are the basic tenets of leadership?
Leadership is about leading by example and being in service to others to have them accomplish their goals so that the business can thrive. And I've had just an incredible honor and pleasure to work with some of the most amazing leaders in the industry. And many of them started right out of college and came in and were passionate and had ideas. And when you create this space for people to recognize opportunities in the business and just make sure they're aligned with the strategy of the organization or the expansion of the strategy of the organization, you can see some really incredible results. And I have to say that kind of leadership for me, that was how I was led as I was coming up, enabled me to generate really cool brand new ideas like Shades Up for Kids, like our co-creation councils, like the power of our proprietary research, things that are beloved by the industry, just being given the freedom and the space to ideate, to think, and the encouragement, the not being a squasher of ideas, but being creating the opportunity for them to blossom and to offer guidance is really what I see leadership being. It's helping others succeed.
Absolutely. I think, I absolutely, agree to the concept of even people joining us from colleges, they do amazing. It's about that headroom for experimentation, that headroom for being creative, headroom for trying what you want, right? I mean, otherwise you cannot just succeed in your career. That's a basic, I would say, table stakes which I've followed throughout my career. It's not as long as yours, but close to 10 years, right?
Well, interestingly, when I first came out of school, I was a very hungry, just recent graduate, and I had a lot of student loans. I didn't make much money. I made $21,000 a year, which did not go far in the late 90s in Southern California. And I was just needing to get ahead. And I just loved generating ways to make the business better. And I happened to work in a marketing and strategy consultancy. And I was kind of cheap labor, but was very driven. And my leaders just said, go for it. They always said, go for it. And it enabled me I led the Aston Martin business when they didn't have any new product to release. And I led that business and made it very profitable. I helped that brand during challenging times. I helped the launch of Hurley when Bob Hurley was starting. He was leaving Billabong and starting Hurley. Tesla was one of our accounts. I worked in Mexico City, and I was a 25-year-old working on a hotel chain in Mexico City. I ran that team and ran that business. And then I had a little client by the name of Co-op Network. That was one of our clients at the consultancy. And I was just given the freedom to make positive change in the business. And the business gave me the space to do it because they saw incredible results. And it was fun. I mean, business needs to be fun. So that kind of space and freedom was incredibly powerful. It was good for the business. My group was the most profitable arm of the agency at the time. And it was just so much fun. The clients loved it. And then it gave me my opportunity at 30 years old to be hired as the youngest vice president at Co-op, now Co-op PSCU, incredible organization. And that just, I kind of joined at a time of just wonderful kismet. I joined at the advent of digital transformation, the advent of iPhone, and Co-op went through about 15, 16 mergers and acquisitions during that time, and I could just focus on how to integrate those organizations, make them part of credit unions' convenience and accessibility for their members, which turned into growth. And that's something I'm incredibly passionate about. But it's really the leadership that allows people to be empowered, to be compassionate toward their audience, to help the business thrive, and to generate new thinking. Because the leader doesn't always have all the ideas. It's the connection of all of the people that you work with that really generates the ideas and creates the frameworks for those ideas to really soar.
Absolutely. I mean, I could just relate to that. I mean, I haven't moved out of consulting. I mean, I'm still in consulting and I love what I do. So even I started my career with Accenture, again, traveled throughout the country. I was in India and Dubai, worked with 30 plus clients till the age of 28, right? I used to change my clients every 3 months. That's what happens in consulting. So out of that experience, I learned so much, and I'm so thankful and I feel so blessed that stint helped me a lot. And what leadership you're talking about, I can co-head that so well, right? So this is fantastic. And I also want to mention about my boss out here at EXL, right? Vikas Sharma. I work for Vikas. He has given me that headroom, that space to go and experiment, to go and integrate different businesses, go do what needs to be done, serve credit unions. Making money is not the intention, right? But the principle is important. Help credit unions go become successful, right? So absolutely. I mean, I just love your definition of leadership because I believe the same thing. Now I'll come to a very focused question, right? Since this podcast is focused towards bringing in women leaders into the forefront, talking about their stories. So any challenge or lesson, being a women leader along this rewarding career, right, of leading so many smart people along the way? I know it's a difficult question, but you can take some time and answer.
So the challenge in being a female leader. Well, we all know there's unconscious bias. There's sometimes you're the only woman in the room, and in the financial services industry, there's a lot of men in leadership and in especially in technology and fintech and things of that sort. So it took me a long time to find my voice and find my strength in being able to communicate and influence many different constituencies. And though sometimes it would be challenging, sometimes frustrating, sometimes diminishing, I would never let that deter me. So I was very dogged in my approach, and sometimes I probably was a pain in the neck for some of my colleagues and my former leaders, but I also always turned what might be seen as sour lemonade or sour lemons into this beautiful, flavorful lemonade.
Yes.
And there were many examples in my career where I was asked to take something over, and I said, okay, how can I reframe this? How can I turn this into something that would really be interesting? And then I would go pitch it. And for example, I was given the opportunity to take over the annual conference and shareholders meeting. And I said, what? This sounds really boring. And I noticed that our credit unions weren't finding much value from it. So I really thought of it from their perspective. This is where compassion comes in. It's having compassion for our credit union leaders to say, what are they really needing to help them be more successful in their businesses.
Absolutely.
And I thought about where I get inspiration. I get inspiration from reading Harvard Business Review, finding case studies, finding companies that I really admire, and what are they doing well, and how can I apply it to my business? And so that generated the idea for Think. It's giving credit union leaders the space to think and to get inspired and to get ideas from outside organizations that are solving problems that credit unions are facing. And then we brought in research that backed it up, contained it in a narrative, created outcomes that the credit unions could go solve for. And I think partly it was just my leadership, perhaps as a woman, just understanding and empathetically listening to what our clients and prospects were really looking for. And it took a minute for my executive leadership and my peer group to really believe in it. But now it's one of the most important drivers of growth for our business. And I've been told by many credit union leaders that it has transformed their business. So it's important to, even if you're the only woman in the room, you're the only person of color in the room, you're the only other type of person in the room,
Yep.
that kind of thinker can bring ideas and strategies and a new set of assumptions that the status quo hasn't thought about. And we need to create space and room for that kind of thinking. So in terms of advice that I would have for female leaders is, don't give up. Don't allow a negative voice to stifle your voice. Take a negative voice and reframe it and turn it into an opportunity, because sometimes those things can create dramatic growth for you, for the business, and change hearts and minds in an organization that might have been really skeptical, that might have been showing their value by pointing out where you might be wrong. And you can take that information and say, okay, let me listen to that, and then reframe it into something really incredible. So I am a unabashed optimist and
Absolutely.
someone who really believes in a growth mindset and positivity, and that has always been the right move for me, even when I come across negative energies and naysayers and men who really want me to stay in a box. And that's okay. That's their prerogative, but I definitely have a prerogative that's not aligned with who I am, and I kind of like who I am.
You're the best, so you should never be apologetic about anything.
You're the
love
best.
you. We love you. That's more important. So now pivoting back to some initiatives, right? I mean, there are like a laundry list of initiatives that I can talk about that you've done at Co-op, right? I mean, this show is not enough for that. But still, if you were to pick up, some successful initiatives or that you've driven and that has, you believe, a long-lasting impact in the credit union ecosystem, I mean, what are the top 2 or 3 what you can think of?
Well, I just mentioned Think. Think is my baby, and I'm so proud of it. There's been 15, 16 of them that have just been the joy of my life to put together. It's been so special and so wonderful to see people moved by it and excited after they attend, and just feel the kind of remember that credit unions are special and we're not underdogs. We are unique, member-centric entities that help people in their financial lives, and this has been a catalyst for helping credit union leaders to remember their magic. So I'm very proud of Think. I'm very proud of our co-creation councils. That was another idea that I had, is creating a listening engine with some of our top clients and bringing them into our organization to tightly intertwine our executive leaders and our senior leaders in co-designing, co-creating our organization to help credit unions be better. And it helped us turn a time that was operationally challenging at Co-op and turn it around. We brought in our top clients who were a little angry, who had negative feedback for us. And we had to be vulnerable and open and listen, and then take that feedback and turn it into change management that really made a dramatic difference in our business. And what's interesting, that led to me starting the CX practice at Co-op, the business transformation practice, and the business insights practice within our business. And what was really encouraging about that is that turned into hard dollars and cents. I actually had our chief strategy officer at the time, Dean Michaels, say to me, he said, Sam, I was a skeptic. I was a skeptic about CX and about these insights. And I said, I know, Dean. And he said, but I'm telling you, I am a strong believer in it because it translates to revenue. We had our strongest annual contract revenue ever in our history at Co-op PSCU. We were able to reduce compression, we increased our deal terms, and we increased our renewal rate above 95%.
Wow.
Before we started our co-creation councils and before we started the CX practice, we were dipping into the 60% renewal rate. We knew we had a lot to improve upon, and I give a lot of credit to the entire leadership team, to Todd Clark, to Matt Cardell, to Bruce Drott, to Dean Michaels. We just had to Nick Calcanes, a lot of really incredible leaders, and we had a strategy that took a lot of grit and investment and client support. And I think just being us listening and applying those learnings to go activate change in our organization made a huge difference, brought our credit union and our credit unions and our market even closer to us. Yes. And it drove tremendous cross sales, tremendous stickiness, people signing 10-year deals. I mean, it just was really incredible. And it just is something that I'm really proud of. But there's a lot. I mean, then there's our co-op purpose and Shades Up for Kids and us being so involved in Children's Miracle Network hospitals and Credit Unions for Kids and the movement, the way that we've raised money. Our Miracle Match program, we have raised almost $100 million in the time that we have had the Miracle Match program. It has translated into tremendous dollars for that organization, and it's something that credit unions are passionate about, the health and wellness of their members. There's a direct correlation between
Absolutely.
Financial well-being and your overall health. Yes. And what we're doing is really making sure in the credit union space that families that have a medical emergency or sick or injured kids don't go into bankruptcy or financial ruin because they have to care for their kids. And so it demonstrates the credit union mission, and really being part of this organization has been all about that. How do we help credit unions succeed in a really rapidly changing marketplace? Yeah. How can we help them assess their strategy and provide the tools, technology, systems, and support that enable them to grow and thrive? And it has really been such a tremendous gift to my career, and I just couldn't love the humans in this industry more than I do. It's just a really wonderful group of people.
Gotcha. And that's what makes me passionate every single time, right? You're not banking, but you're serving members. You're caring about them. I mean, I don't think, thinking about a customer happens at this level for other organizations and trade unions. Trade unions are super centric, and firms like Co-op, PSCU, and EXL, we are like so committed towards, at least we try being committed towards helping trade unions walk that same journey, and that's phenomenal. I appreciate you sharing these initiatives with me, and I think people and my audience would love to know more about them. Definitely they'll reach out to you, right, to ask more about these initiatives.
Many of them know, but it's just been the joy of my life to create these ideas and have the teams that execute them so beautifully, and then take my little kernel of an idea and turn it into something just tremendous. So
Absolutely.
it's been really so much fun, and just fun to see my leaders and the people I've been blessed enough to work with really take it to the next level. And I just love seeing them be successful. That's a big joy for me.
Absolutely. I mean, leadership sponsor is so important. Unless your leadership believes that there's something that will work, you cannot pull it over. And I'm thankful that both of our leaderships think alike. Right. I would say a holistic question, right? So where do you think, Sam, is the credit union industry is heading to? Right, the movement as all is heading to, be because of the interest rate risk, liquidity pressure, etc. So what are if I to ask you, what are your predictions for this year for the entire credit union movement? So what would you say?
I'm noticing the credit union movement sit up and say, we need to change. And I know that we are facing dramatic headwinds. All I hear across all the credit union leaders in this space is that we need to protect member deposits, we need new membership growth, and we need liquidity. And we don't quite know how to get there. We have leaned on kind of a product-centric model, leaning primarily on the lending space.
Yes.
The lending space helps members grow their long-term financial needs. However, members have short-term financial needs too. And when you're able to understand the ways that your solution sets come together to help members really thrive short-term and long-term, to help them improve their overall financial performance, you're going to be able to see growth. Just as Co-op PSCU thought through ways to bring our organization closer to our clients, credit unions are in the space now that they're realizing that their value proposition of member centricity means more than just great rates. It means omni-channel, digital first transformation. And those organizations that are leaning into companies like EXL to focus on data and analytics and their overall technology stack and generating use cases across member journeys that are going to drive utilization of the credit union are seeing optimal performance. But I could take a really negative point of view and say, the market is shrinking, credit unions are consolidating, they're not seeing the type of growth on their balance sheet that they're wanting to see. They're trying to find new markets to enter. And as I like to do, like to reframe this as saying, let's take these sour lemons and make beautiful lemonade, delicious lemonade out of this. This creates the opportunity for us to think differently. It creates the opportunity for us to sit in our members' shoes, to deliver things the way that they want to receive them, not what's convenient for us or fitting in our operating model. How do we need to assess our operating model and the way that we work and find ways of delivering new value to members so that they get short-term, near-term engagement, daily engagement through payments, through digital engagement, through digital payments, through overall financial well-being and financial wellness so that members can understand how they're doing in their financial life and then take good action with the next best solution that the credit union might offer. And then that leads them to long-term wealth creation and financial well-being so they can meet their long-term goals like buying a home or buying a new car or something that they do every 5 to 7 years. So I really love seeing the new thinking that's coming out of the credit union industry. And I believe that our leaders can pivot. I believe our leaders can innovate and listen and kind of take on these new assumptions. And our superpower is sharing. That's something that's really amazing about credit unions. We share information, we collaborate. I mean, the company that I come from was born from credit unions, 42 years ago. And so we have that in our DNA. We're going to cooperate and collaborate our way through this and not be afraid and be really emboldened about change. And I'm loving that credit unions are leaning into new trends. like data, like embedded finance, like AI, like financial wellness, like creating new payments and omni digital channels that enable seamless transactions that enable even stronger financial outcomes for members. So there are many trends in the industry that thought leaders in the space talk about that we're all familiar with. It's how you take these trends and build them into your model to enable what's most critical, which is member centricity. I always like to say the member is the P&L. If we're able to help the members overall, their personal P&Ls, and that improves incrementally and in a very sticky way the credit union's P&L. And instead of looking at ourselves as product lines, we look at ourselves as a holistic member economic performance engine. And that's our opportunity as an industry.
Absolutely. I mean, you just covered the points that needed to be covered, right? I mean, data, personalization, your products, financial wellness, but everything wrapped under the same hood of the credit union movement, member centricity. You have to think about the member at first. You have to step into a shoe of a member and understand. I mean, if I were to, I mean, I don't have a kid, but if I were to send a kid to a school maybe in the next year, I have to plan for it. And that's not is an easy thing to do. Or maybe there's a medical emergency, right? What do I do it? So there should be innovative products. There should be easier way access to credit, right? Which I think credit unions are doing a fabulous job right now. I won't say compete. Compete is a very bad word to use. Compete with banks. No. The missions are different for all of them. But yeah, as a whole, I think this is we are heading to a very good start 2024. I mean, if you look at the NCUA numbers, I mean, I'm like very positive about where this movement will go, and I'm all up for it.
Well, consumers need us today. I mean, consumers need the credit union mission. They have been in a tight place from a financial perspective in the last 2 years. There's been so much inflation, and all of the money that came into credit unions in the form of deposits from members through the PPP program and things coming out of the pandemic, that money got siphoned away because members needed it, and they found more convenient use cases through neobanks, challenger banks, fintechs, and then big banks were kind of gobbling up those use cases and bringing them into their environment. So the thing that credit unions have as an advantage is their incredible mission and their focus on member well-being, and sometimes being smaller enables you to be more agile and nimble and make decisions in a way that can attract members to you and use you in that way. We just have to remember how to put together convenience bundles and look at our solutions in a way not through our eyes but through our members' eyes. And that is an incredible advantage for all of us.
Exactly. I mean, I can just relate to this very small point. I mean, there's a concept called consultant's fallacy. What that means, you fall in love with your own slides and own decks. I love the slides which I create. Yeah, absolutely. Concur to what you say. Looking at what a member needs is what we have to think through going forward. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's why I think women are so. Many people see compassion, empathy, and compassion as a weakness, as a soft skill. From my perspective, it is the skill. It is the skill that helps you deeply understand and walk in the shoes of your audience to say, what are we missing here? What did we not include? What quarters are we leaving on the floor that we're able to pick up while leaving our mission, while serving our members and living our mission? And that women are uniquely able to do that. It's kind of in the fiber of who we are. And so I've been given feedback in the past that you have really beautiful soft skills, Sam. And I'm like, thank you, I agree. And that's just who I am as a person. And I have my MBA and, and have tangible business results that I've grown companies to be really successful. So when you're able to put those things together and reach across organizations to solve unique problems, it can create some really tangible, real results that drive growth for that organization. And so women do a good job of connecting organizations together and leveraging their innate skills to make business more successful.
Amazing. I can't thank women of credit unions, more than that. If you ask me, whoever I am now is because of women who mentored me from initial days. We were just chatting for the same thing before the show. Why am I, doing this podcast in the first place, right? That is the main intent. It's a tribute to all women out there every day who go out, chin up, run businesses, run homes. It's a tribute to all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Anurag. That's a beautiful thing to say.
Since we're talking about women again, right? So, with your connects and the people right? So, I'll ask you a quick question. So, can you maybe name a few of them whom you consider to be the next gen leaders or movers, shakers? And it's a difficult question. So many of them, right? But just pick a few randomly.
Oh my, there's so many. I actually just did a post on LinkedIn where I wanted to recognize women lifting women. And I thought about my circle. And then all of a sudden I ran out of room to mention more women. LinkedIn said, you cannot do more. So I'm just going to have to do more of those posts. But there's incredible women in our industry. Women like Gigi Highland, who is the executive director of the National Credit Union Foundation. Women like April Clovis, who's the CEO of Michigan State University Federal Credit Union and the CEO of the Reseda Group, who's driving transformation inside her credit union and for the industry as a whole. Women like Anna Fonseca, who's the CEO of Logix Credit Union. Women like Linda Rossi, CEO of Ventura Credit Union. Erin Mendez of Patelco. Jackie Buchanan, Patty Corkery, who's the league president in Michigan. Of course, Carolyn Willard, who's the CEO of the Cornerstone League. There are countless women. I count the women on my team: Casey Stinson, Carrie Stapp, Pam Edwards, Louise Johnson. These are incredible women who have made dramatic change within co-op and within the credit union industry, and they're up and coming and making a huge difference in our market. And I'm so proud to have been able to work with them. There's so many to name. Amy Daly, who's now the CEO of Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, brand new CEO. I can't wait to see what she's going to do. In terms of women I look up to, Linda Kirkpatrick, she's the CEO, or she's the president of the Americas for MasterCard. She is just an incredible leader and somebody that I really aspire to be like. So there are many, many incredible role models in our industry and women who are really making it happen. And I leaned on that in the past few years as I went back to school at 47 years old to get my MBA while working, while being a mom, and while traveling most weeks and consulting with credit unions. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I leaned on inspiration from my son, who was looking up to me and kind of watching me do this. He actually said the other day, we were having dinner, and I was helping him with his algebra homework, which was fun. And he said, "Mom," and this is his voice because I'm embarrassed saying this, but he said, "Mom, do you know how incredible you are? I watched you go work all day, work from early in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, turn off one computer and open another computer and then do schoolwork until midnight. And you did that every day. And he said, and I was there for your graduation. Do you know what that was like? And I said, Finn, I didn't give you enough attention. I felt guilty. I felt like I wasn't doing enough for him. And he says, but you took care of our family and you were showing me what I should be doing while I'm in school. And my 12-year-old said that.
I can't believe that.
And it brought tears to my eyes. It makes me cry now. It just is. He's a very incredible human as a 12-year-old, but you realize how your example, you ask what leadership is. It's the example you lead. That's what people say about you when you're not around. It's how you lead your life to inspire and encourage other people to live their dream and live their best life. And so doing hard things is something we all can do, and you feel an incredible sense of accomplishment, and you never know who's watching you and gaining ideas or inspiration that might help them in their lives. So I don't know, it's kind of an incredible thing to look at women and these incredible leaders like you asked me to name, and they inspire me all the time.
Now I have a tangible list of people whom I will reach out to for
you're gonna put them in your podcast.
Exactly. So I mean, this podcast is designed as a whole to go and celebrate women of community financial institutions, right? So
there are many to celebrate.
Absolutely. We want people to come, celebrate, talk about their life, their journeys. I mean, I just want to bring about journey. Like the biggest example, your son, right? He's a kid. He's 12. I mean, he looks up to you, thinking that my mom is a super mom. She's a superwoman, right? So that's what we need. I mean, immense respect. I mean, again, to my mother back in India, Mama, cheers to you. I'm so proud of you for what you do.
Okay, moms are special.
Absolutely.
Parents are special. Yeah.
Special, absolutely. I want to end this with this note itself. Yeah, so I won't take a lot of your time. I know we are already on top of the hour, but yeah, thanks a lot. It was an amazing session uncovering your journey, your special projects, tidbits about your life, talking about the leaders that you think are moving and shaking this ecosystem, right? But with one single belief at the end, that we work towards changing experiences for members. So member centricity is the most important thing, and we'll go to any length to make a member's life special, to make a member's life more tangible, right? So yeah, this was amazing, Sam. Again, thanks a lot for being in this podcast. I cannot thank you more for being my inaugural guest. Again, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Thank you, Anurag. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.